Before we dive into this video, I want to set the right expectations so you know exactly what you're getting into. This isn't a flashy montage or a hype-filled highlight reel. There won't be clips every few seconds just to keep your attention span. Instead, this is a full, in-depth guide focused entirely on defense in Fortnite, teaching you how to protect yourself, counter opponents, and take control of every fight. If you're just looking for entertainment, this might not be the video for you. But if you're serious about improving your defensive gameplay, learning how to build smarter, anticipate attacks, counter pressure effectively, and maintain control under fire, then you're in the right place. Defense isn't just about walls and ramps, it's about positioning, resource management, timing, and reading your opponents to turn fights in your favor. Here's the best part. If you watch all the way to the end, yes, even though it is a long video, I guarantee you'll walk away with tons of knowledge that you can immediately apply to your gameplay. By the time this video is over, you'll be able to implement these strategies instantly, outplay aggressive opponents, and elevate your defensive skills above the majority of most Fortnite players. So let's jump in and master defense mechanics, turning every fight into an opportunity to survive, adapt, and dominate in Fortnite. Alright, so I know a lot of you guys have seen my 37 minutes that goes over all the mechanics in Fortnite. Now, that was more of a beginner guide. There are some advanced stuff in there, but in this video, I'm going to be showing you the best defensive strats. And basically, I'm going to show you everything you'll need to know about defense in Fortnite. Now, once again, not all of this is realistic situations because, once again, I am in a creative map. But I'm going to be showing you everything from like a perspective of me and how I would react to certain situations based on how I was getting pressured. So, for example, if you're running out in the open, just in games, scrims, whatnot, and you get beamed, the first thing you'll want to do, and this is obvious, is boxing up. Now, actually, a lot of players box up and they don't actually put cones in their box. That is one of the biggest issues you can do. Now, you'll either want to place a cone or you will want to place a stair. The only inconvenience about a stair is you can edit back, to the side, and up. But if you have a cone, you can edit out all four sides and edit up. Now, once again, if you're up on a higher area, for example, like this, with a cone, you can edit down, out all the sides, and up pretty quick. Yes, it takes more editing to edit up, but it's honestly simpler to edit down as well than it would be to use a stair. And a lot of you guys know that. So if you're getting pressured, especially from one side, most people only build one box, and usually they build it out of wood. Now, if you only have wood, that is fine. But in this scenario, if you get hit at all or you just want to box up, you're going to want to box up out of brick or metal, preferably brick in this scenario because you don't want to waste metal until the end of the match. Whenever you get shot at, you will want to build two boxes. That way, that if you do need a heal, you can sit in one box while they pressure the other box, and you also have two boxes to move around in, which makes it a lot harder for them to pressure you. Now, the thing about these two walls is if, for example, if someone's coming from this side right here, they're going to have to spray through this wall, grab this wall, come in, and then grab this wall too. A lot of people that are super aggressive will just attack through that way. And when they do attack through that way, you have the box around them. So that way they can only get out that one way, which in a realistic scenario, you can just edit up the top and you can just go like this. Now, this is applying pressure from a defensive standpoint, if that makes sense. The best defense is sometimes offense. So if you get hit a lot and you get a mini off and you're relatively healthy, the next best thing you guys can actually do is apply pressure back onto the person. Because if you don't apply any pressure to them, they're just going to keep pressuring you and eventually they'll just get in your face and kill you. So the best defense is offense. So you're going to want to apply pressure. Once again, the thing with the double walls is it makes it a lot harder for someone to pressure into you. And now you can also use like a cone or a stair like this, which would make it 3 to 4 layers that they have to get to if they're just attacking from that one side to get to you. And once again, then you can edit out the back, edit down, and just do a bunch of other stuff. Now, a lot of things that I see people do wrong when they get hit, or once again, like on the defensive end, is, for example, if you get shot and you're boxed up over here, and like you're healing in there, and you see the opponent coming towards you like this, no builds, nothing, because obviously you're on the ground. What I see a lot of players do wrong is they'll just sit in the box, either create another box and just heal up right here and not apply any pressure. The thing is, you'll want to catch your opponent off guard. If they hit you a good amount, they're not going to expect you to edit up and look down back at them and start spraying them. Now, once again, if you get at least 2 to 3 tags with your AR on them, that's going to do a lot of damage to them, and they're going to actually have to box up and heal. And then you have the advantage because you can pressure with aggressiveness. And being super aggressive is really good. grab the wall, and just shoot him. Now, another thing a lot of you guys do wrong is not switching layers correctly when you are on the defensive end. For example, if someone is pressuring you from all sides, if you have a super aggressive player that is also super smart, they'll usually pressure you from most sides. So for example, they'll have something like this. They'll come this side, this side. They'll even come around this way. And they'll just do stuff like that. Now, if you're in that situation, once again, you should have 2 boxes like always, and you should always have a cone in your box as well. If he's pressuring every single wall, the only way to go out is up or down if he's pressuring from every side. Now, if he does leave a side open, like if he's attacking from all these sides over here and he leaves this open, you can edit out this way and actually create another box, or edit out and get height on him. But the thing is, he can predict that pretty darn easily. For example, if he sees you turn around and he's right here, he can just go up and just do that. So what I do recommend is doing fake edits. Yes, you do these on offense and defense. So a fake edit, for example, if we're right here once again, say he's attacking from this side. What I want to do is I'm going to edit like this, and then I'm going to edit this back wall and act like I'm going out this way. As soon as I do that, I'm going to drop down a couple layers and create more boxes. This will confuse him, give you some time to pop heals and whatnot, and then you can reapply pressure back onto him once again. Another thing, I dropped down 2 layers here. A lot of players just drop down 1 layer, and the sucky thing about dropping down 1 layer is if he predicts that, he can just full box you like this. So I recommend dropping him down more than 1 layer. Another thing is, like in scrims, which is a lot more about defense than it is offense, unless you're a very aggressive player, is, for example, if you're rotating and you get hit and you box up, there's so many different layers in endgames. So there's height, there's low ground, and there's mid ground. Now, mid is usually the most chaotic area. Usually in mid levels, you have more players surrounding you. Like, you'll have almost a player on every single side of your box. So what you would want to do is, once again, drop down to all-time low ground. My favorite thing is to play all-time low ground. All-time low ground, usually, especially when rotating, you can just place stuff above you like this, and most players won't fight you because they're worried about the people that are on height or next to them in mid ground. So that's what I recommend doing. But once again, if you're playing defensively and the person from height actually drops down to key you, what I recommend doing is coning them off and then trying and finding a way to get height, especially in the later zones. This is just a defensive retake to just get back up on height, and you can actually use your defense once again to get up on height. The best defense is offense. And a lot of players wouldn't actually expect you to go up like that if they're pressuring you from height. Another thing you can do is pressuring from, like, say example, they're in zone right here. You can come up from behind them and a pressure through that way. Now, they're probably going to play defensive, but most players that play on height, they'll fight you. But as soon as you do any damage to you whatsoever, and this is what I recommend too if you get damaged while you're on height, is to drop down a couple layers. For example, I'd waterfall a couple layers down and box up all the way on low ground once again, because low ground is usually the safest spot to play, and low ground is pretty easy because you can look up pretty well and you can just have a more level playing field on low ground. This is where I get the most kills in my games and my tournaments. If, for example, I'll show you from mid ground. If you're on mid ground right here, you have to look through your bottom, your mid area, and your top. So there's 3 things you have to be careful about, and you have to watch that from all sides. So being on low ground, since you don't have to look at from below you, you only have to look at next to you and above you. And the people that are, once again, on mid ground and high ground will look at each other and most likely not focus low ground. So that is basically changing layers and how you're supposed to play an endgame with defense. Now, once again, the main thing in Fortnite is winning fights without taking damage, or dealing the most amount of damage without taking any damage, or once again, just playing defense. Because if you have the best defense in the game, no one is going to be able to beat you. The main thing that I see wrong with defense, once again, is people, for example, let's say you get hit and all your shield gets cracked. You're in the box, right? You're perfectly set up, whatnot, and you need to pop the minis. You're popping the minis. but then they just break in and kill you. So what I recommend is trying to hit one mini and then create space again, just so you have that extra little bit of cover from the opponent. Another thing you guys can do is baiting heals. I don't actually see a lot of people bait heals. I love baiting heals. The best thing about getting damage is they know you're gonna try and heal up, but what they don't know is that you could be baiting it. Sometimes I will literally sit in a box, pop a mini, and right as it's about to pop, I'll either get off of it or I'll let it pop all the way, and then I'll try and pop another mini, but then I'll let go of it. That way that I'm not full health once again, which is kind of risky. But if the person drops down and starts like triple swinging on my wall because they think I'm healing, I can just be in here, take a right hand peek, and get damage off on them. So it's in your favor when you have damage on you. If that sounds weird, but it's true, because you can bait the heal and you can get damage on them, which then they'll have to heal up. And I don't see enough people baiting their heals. Once again, baiting your heals can also make you get up and get the advantage and get height. So if you play very defensive, you'll want to try and get height as much as possible. All right, another thing with like tarping. So I know a lot of you guys don't know how to tarp properly. There's multiple different ways to tarp, and there's tarping upwards like this. You can do it with cones as well. Then there's tarping regularly, which is just like this. Then the best one is zigzag tarping, which is where you go like this. This creates so you're not going in a straight line, which makes it more unpredictable, and you can even mix up the patterns. And then there is this tarping, which is the least amount of mats to tarp, but you can also get sprayed pretty easily. And then there's actually one more thing that I like to do. If you guys know about how when you're pressuring on someone's wall and you want to get in their box, you can just break it and jump through using a ramp. Well, you can also use this on the defensive end. For example, if you're in a box like this and someone's pressuring this side, you can edit that out, come this way, place your floor right here, place a stair, and if you place it correctly when you're running, it should phase like this, and you run forward and then you just jump, and it will boost you up, and then you can use that to your advantage to once again get counter damage or just get further away from your opponent. You can also use this when you're solo tarping. It gives you that extra little speed, and it gives you some good protection when tarping, and so I recommend doing that. It's just a sneaky little thing that I don't see a lot of players do when rotating. Yes, it does kind of leave you out in the open, but if you're low on mats, that is one of the best ways to rotate because you get the height coverage on you. Now, another thing I don't see a lot of people do when they're playing defensive is actually something called the controller movement. Now, controller movement, I call it this because whenever I fight a controller player, they usually, if I box them up, they usually just go like this and run around, which makes it harder for you to hit them because their movement is unpredictable, if that makes sense. Now, I have a lot of friends that do this movement, and it's really annoying, but it's actually really smart to use because it messes up people's like average aim. So if you, for example, if you get boxed up and there's nothing you can do besides try and break out or take the fight with them in the box, if they're in the box with you, just do the crazy movement and then pull out your shotgun every once in a while and try and get a hit off. It'll be harder for them to hit you. It will also be hard for you to hit them, but it gives you a more fair advantage because once again, they have everything around you and you have nothing, so you can try and do that, and most of the time they'll hit you or you'll hit them, and then they'll try and escape, and then you can break out. Real quick before we get into the rest of the video, when it comes to defense in Fortnite, every decision, every movement, every edit can be the difference between surviving a fight and getting third-partied. You can have the best strategies, but if your PC isn't performing at its best, those split-second plays can feel sluggish or delayed. That's why I rely on Risen's tweaking service. They specialize in optimizing your system to remove input lag, boost FPS, and make every action feel instant. With their tweaks, defensive plays that used to feel risky become much more reliable. Walls go up faster, edits register quicker, and you're able to react exactly when you need to. I've seen a huge difference in my own gameplay since using it. It feels like playing on a completely new level. And the best part, right now, if you click on the link in the description and or the pinned comment, you'll get 15% off at checkout, or you can use the code FLOW at checkout for the same discount. All right, now back to defense. There's also another thing you guys can do when you're in defense. Now, for example, once again, someone damaged you or you just boxed up and you want to get counter damage on them, or you've healed a good amount and you want to get counter damage on them again. You can edit like this. And especially if you're on ground, this works better. Like, I'll show you. I've seen Martaz do this a lot. It basically creates a fake box. So they think you're in the box because it is closed off like this. And if they're above you, they'll drop down from height, and you can actually jump up, shoot them, and do stuff like that. That's like a bait. You can also bait with edits. So if you're boxed up, someone's pressuring this wall, edit, reset, they'll probably shoot the wall, then you can edit on them and shoot them again. Another thing is, once again, if people try and pickaxe swing and they're just double swinging, just use that time to just open up and shoot them, because you should be able to open up, shoot them, re-edit, and if they break the wall, then you hold it again, and you should be able to take it out. Now, if you're on higher ping, and I know defense is harder on higher ping because a lot of people can take your walls, the best thing you can do when getting a keyed is, if they break your wall, to edit this and edit back, and then create multiple boxes. The higher the ping, you can't hold walls, so the only way to really do it is to pre-fire or create more space. So I recommend doing that. Now, if you're in trios or duos and you're by yourself, like a 1v2 or 1v3, and you're boxed up, I know a lot of this will happen to you guys in like FNCS or any tournaments you play. The main thing is, a lot of players will pressure you from one side. Like a whole trio will pressure you from one side. Tier 1 pros, they have 3 different people pressure from all different sides, so that it's a lot harder to actually deal damage to them or fight them back. Now, it is really hard to 1v3 or 1v2. The best thing you can hope is to get pre-fire damage on them. Or once again, you can fake edits and do stuff like that. Another great way to catch them off guard is, for example, if you know these 2 walls are pretty heavy and like they're attacking them, but they're not doing a lot of damage to them, and you know a person's right here, you can edit this, cone them off, and then back off, and then it leaves you up to a 1v2 for a second because that player is coned off and they can't get on height. Now, you can even do that with 2 people. If, for example, you have this right here, you can edit, cone, and then you can come out this way again. And that would give you a one-on-one where you can deal damage. You can also get height. And once you're on height, the best thing you want to do is just play your height and just try and deal as much damage to them as possible. 1v3s are really hard because, once again, you have 3 times the fire rate and stuff coming towards you than you do against them. But once again, 1v3s are very counterable. If the opponents play dumb, like for example, if you hit 1 or hit 2 for pretty heavy, then they're just going to send the 1 person at you, and you can pick them off one by one by just playing defensive and pre-piece and whatnot like that. Once again, another thing about defense is pre-piece. Now, I've talked about pre-piece in basically every video I've ever had. Pre-piece is, for example, if you're like this, and you know an opponent's coming from this backside, and you know there's an opponent below you, once again, they don't have this, so you can just edit it down, pre-piece them, they'll walk into it, and you just get a free shot. Then you can once again come out and go like this, and you can even pre-piece this kid like this and shoot down. Pre-piece is one of the biggest things when it comes to defense, because using your own builds and piece control will help you counter so many fights and counter so many players that actually don't know how to fight, if that makes sense. Now, I know this is a defensive guide, and we've gone over a bunch of other stuff in this video. But I want to talk about the new weapons this season: the Wrecker, the Sentinel, and the OXR rifle. Now, the revolver was really good at the very beginning of the season. However, they have nerfed it. It's not as good. You can't double pump with it anymore, but it is still like a relatively good shotgun. Now, it's personal preference. This does damage from further range. This is better damage close range, in my opinion. But there's no doubt about it, you should only be using the OXR rifle for your games. And here's why. It does more damage to builds than the Fury does. It has a fast firing rate. Not extremely fast, not as fast as the Fury, but it does have a good fire rate, and it does a lot more damage to walls, which makes it easier to piece opponents and stuff like that. It also has really good aim, so if someone's going in the air, it's a lot easier to track with this, because it's basically hit scan, and it will do a lot more damage. I'm pretty sure the gold one does like 33 damage to the body or something like that, which is absolutely insane. Fries everyone. And once again, the Sentinel is still better for dealing damage to builds and walls than the Wrecker is, so I recommend using that as well. Now, I'm only just telling you this because, once again, a lot of you guys always have questions about, oh, what should I use for my matches and whatnot. I recommend still using Sentinel and OXR. That is the best combo in my opinion, but you guys are also entitled to whatever you guys want to use. Now, there are some things I can't show you in creative, like for example, zone awareness, using defense for zone awareness, natural cover as defense, your positioning in storm as a defensive position, your rotational planning and stuff like that. But once again, most of the things that I've showed you in here, you can use in those situations. So, for example, natural terrain. I always say this in all my videos. You guys need to be using natural terrain or already built things to your advantage. You can also use them to sneak up on opponents and stuff like that. For example, if someone has like an already built like tarp like this, because in a lot of end games and tournaments, you'll see people tarp or rotate like this, and people tarping like this or like rotating because they don't want to take damage. A thing that you guys, or I see a lot of people do, is they'll not actually use this to their advantage, and it's actually pre-defense already made for you. You can just rotate along this and you won't have to worry about people on this side. It helps conserve mats, and it's honestly one of the most important things you guys can do. Another thing is like trees or big rocks. I know there's a bunch of big rocks that basically you can hide behind, something like this, and there's trees you can hide behind and stuff like that. If you're low on mats, once again, you'll want to use stuff like that so that you don't have to build and waste your mats. Another thing that is very important about defense is not wasting mats. Now, I see a lot of people, yes, you create 2 boxes when you are getting pushed, but what I don't like seeing is someone getting sprayed from every angle. Like, say example, they do damage to all of this. I see a lot of people actually repair their walls, which just wastes extra materials that you could have used later on in the match. Like right there, I just wasted 6 brick to repair the walls for barely anything. So don't repair your walls that much unless you're like on literally your last mats and you have to repair the walls in order to stay in that box, because you don't have the materials to get out of that box. But once again, if you're boxed up, you want to use as little amount of materials as possible, because if you fight this person and then you kill them somehow, even though you're on the defensive end, you're probably gonna get third-partied right away, and you don't want to get third-partied and have no mats. So if you're onto the defensive, and I see a lot of people do this, is they'll just go on for like full-on edit courses and stuff for height like this, and it just wastes so much materials just to get one shot on a person. Like, look how much mats I just wasted doing that. You want to be conservative and actually play with your mats. You want to do as least amount of building as possible and stuff like that, because once again, if you use too much mats, you'll run out of mats mid-fight and you won't have anything to defend with, and if you get third-partied, you also won't have anything to defend with. Now, this is actually going to be something that's not super defensive, but it's something you can use in your games to actually bait opponents and get free damage or free kills even. And now it might seem a little weird, but I have used this in the past and it actually works out pretty well. Have you ever come up against a platform like this? Maybe not as many cones, but something like this in any game or anything like that, where there's just a bunch of different spread out cones and stuff like that. Now, you can see people in the cones in this map, obviously, because everything's green, so everything goes through. But for example, if they're all metal, it's going to be really hard to see the opponent in the cones. What I actually do is, for example, in end games, I'll throw something down like a crash pad or a launch pad, a super launch pad in the new season. And when someone comes and grabs it, I will actually piece them up, or me and my trio will just all spray them at the same time. This way you just get free kills, and it's literally might be the gayest possible way to get kills. But also, if you just need that like little extra point boost in a tournament, I would recommend utilizing that. Another thing I don't see a lot of people do is using third parties to their advantage. So the thing about third parties is, if you're fighting someone and you know a third party is coming, or you're getting sprayed at by a third party, you're obviously going to want to box up. Now, you can actually use a third party to your advantage. Once again, I would recommend going to the very low possible ground as possible if there's like a big fight above you, or try and find something that you've already built that's already solid like this, and then just place a cone inside and hide in your cone. And I know this might sound like a baby move to make, like why would I just hide in a cone when I could go fight? The main point of this, the thing about Fortnite, it's a survival, but it's also a shooter. So the two main things is dealing damage and killing people, but also surviving. You're not going to rank up or do good in tournaments if you don't survive. So what I recommend doing is using the third parties to your advantage. Basically hiding or doing something like that. And then when you hear the other people fight, or you see someone die in the kill feed when someone just shot above you or something like that, then after you do that, you can push up and use it to their advantage, because the person will probably be lower than when they are fighting you, and they'll probably have less mats and less heals. So you have the upper hand in that. You turn the third party into your own third party so you can third party them better, if that makes sense. So you guys want to do that as well. Once again, you're going to want to do constant positional shifts. Being unpredictable is the main thing in Fortnite when it comes to actually being good. Once again, layer changing like this, and like boxing in weird positions, and just doing random stuff like this keeps you unpredictable and makes it hard for your opponents to actually read you and predict you, which makes it a lot more interesting. Another thing is staying calm when getting pressured. If you're getting pressured or lobbied, which is very annoying in endgames, you want to stay calm. Now, the best thing you can do if you're getting lobbied is you create space towards the bullets. If you're getting sprayed from this side and this side only, you're gonna want to create space towards it, and then you can edit back like this, and then you can also do this once again too. Stuff like that. You want to create it distance towards it so that you can come back all the way and just be fine back here. So you can do that. Another thing is staying calm. Once again, if you're getting sprayed, don't be freaking out and going like this, please. Unless you're getting sprayed from every angle, this is the only way to survive. But don't just be going like this like crazy. Especially if you're only getting sprayed from this side, you can just hold this one side and then make counter peeks and stuff like that. Just makes it a lot easier to react and stuff like that. Another thing you guys can do is actually bait with your own loot. For example, if you have like this right here, a lot of people won't realize it, especially if it looks like there's a fight that happened there and it's just left in a box. You can actually just have, for example, if there's loot in this box right here, you can just have it open and just make it look like a fight happened here, and then you can actually just be in like a cone back here. Once again, it's similar with the same idea over there, and as soon as someone comes down, you just shoot them. It's baiting. It's horrible, but in the same way, it works really well, and it's pretty great. But yeah, basically, that's just a bunch of stuff you can use to your advantage when you're defending, or how to like counteract certain things from defending. Once again, cones are your best friend in defense. Just spamming cones, especially when someone's pressuring you. Just spam cones are on them. Like if you're getting pressured like this, just put cones everywhere like that. It'll just make your opponents so mad. Or like if you're on height and you're trying to play defensively on height, one of the best things you can do is just go like this. You can literally just spam cones. It's gonna make it way harder for them to get through you. It's annoying for like if you're trying to get up on someone, but it's also just a lot better for defense because it covers off all the entry points they can get you up from. Once again, I know this is not all about defense. A lot of it is like how to counteract stuff and how to apply pressure onto people. And I've said a million times in this video, the best defense is good offense. So just use the things that I have taught you in this video. Use them to your advantage. And if you guys think there is anything that I missed, comment it down below. I know I do miss some things in these videos, and once again, these are more a beginner guide friendly video for people that are new to comp and new to all of this, but it still can help out some of you guys that don't think about some of these processes while you are in these fights or these defensive positions. But once again, leave a comment down below of some more video ideas you guys have for me, and if I missed anything that I can possibly pin to help you guys improve even more. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day to watch this video. I love you all. I hope you guys have a great rest of your guys' day. Please like and subscribe. We are so close to hitting 50K, and it is my goal to hit 50K by the beginning of September. So if you guys would, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, send the video to a friend that you think will need it, and go watch my previous guide on the 37 minutes no bullshit guide on all of the mechanics in Fortnite. Go watch that as well. It's one of the best videos I've ever created on this channel. It goes really into depth and all of that. But once again, I love you all. You guys have a great rest of your guys' day, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.